people were asking me what to expect today, and I was like, he's a vocalist, he's a performer, he's an artist. Just come, you won't regret it. So if you had to introduce yourself to people who don't know you as a musician and also as a person, what would you say? How would you do that?
I would do it just as you said it. You know, I'm a musician. Pretty much it.
Cool.
Musician, singer.
And
Music.
how about aside from music, how would you introduce yourself?
Bilal.
I noticed you have a lot of nicknames.
Oh yeah, Airtight, Willie, Pillow. In the studio, I come up with a lot of different names just to get me out of a certain mindset. You know.
Yeah. Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful. You know, I bring a lot of people in to help me with ideas.
Okay, cool. And how did Mr. Wonderful come about?
Mr. Wonderful, that's a nickname of my pops.
Oh, cool.
That was his old nickname. So I'm actually Mr. Wonderful Jr.
Aha. I have a similar nickname, Mr. Slightly Above Average. Oh, man. Okay, so tell me about high school. You went to a performing arts high school coming up. Was that rigorous, or was it just something that was right in tune with what you needed and wanted at the time?
It was cool. I wanted to go there. I grew up singing in the church, you know, on a choir, you know. So since I was 4 years old, I've been into music. So when I found out that there was a performing arts school, I just went there and tried out.
Cool.
It was cool. I liked it. It was almost like Fame. Like we had a dance department, art department, drama department, music department.
Cool. Was there anything you did in high school that was rebellious?
Everything. They voted me the weirdest cat in the school. I didn't understand that shit because
There's a category for weirdest cat.
like, what the hell? But I guess in school you weird. Like I used to go to school with my pajamas on.
Really? We
with
do
the
that here
button up.
sometimes.
You know the awesome button up ones with the pants.
The onesie?
Not the onesie. It's a twosie. It's got the it's like the granddad pajamas. It's got the pants. It's got the awesome prints, and then the shirt with the button, the big buttons. Yeah, I thought that was cool.
That's really cool. Cool. So then after high school, you went to the new school in New York.
Yep.
Can you talk about how that changed or modified or whatever your career trajectory, and how that supported you going forward?
It helped me a great deal. Like I got to see other people my age that could play on a really high level. You know what I'm saying? So it was inspiring.
Cool. And who did you meet during those years that you still work with or are in touch with today?
Well, you know, there's Robert Glasper. Robert, I met him like we came in school at the same time, so you know he pretty much had the same kind of musical upbringing as me. Like he started out playing in church. His mom is a musician, and she had him playing at a young age, and you know I had the same concept, you know. So our musical understandings kind of meshed.
Okay,
So
cool.
it was cool.
This is just a personal story, but my favorite live show I think I've ever seen was you, Robert, Chris, Dave, and Tone at Yoshi's Oakland.
Oh, awesome! Hell yeah!
Yeah, that's a good set. Did you plan to work together, or were you all just available during the same time? And is there plans that do you guys all want to come back together at a certain point?
Oh, that was just it was a I don't know. Everybody is like has their own thing going now. That was a time, and you know, a cool period where, like, Robert actually played on all my records. I played on all his records, but he helped me write like some of my early tunes. Like a lot of cats don't know, like "When Will You Call?"
Oh,
Like we wrote that at school, like, and practice room.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So that was, you were real young when that happened then.
Mm-hmm.
That's a deep song for, I think when I was 19, I was
No, but actually it wasn't because you know, I was like a hopeless romantic. So at that period, I was writing a lot from high school, and I got played a lot in high school. So.
Speaking of that, me too. How do you deal with heartbreak? That's a deep question, but you know, I tend to just crawl into some hole or something. But it seems like you're able to write your way out of it.
Yeah, that's been my therapy through the years.
That's cool. So let's talk about D'Angelo. I didn't know, but Bilal sang background for D'Angelo for a period. Can you tell me about that experience?
Oh yeah, it only lasted one gig. But,
Okay.
nah, it only lasted one gig. But I used to hang out at Amir's house. He used to have jam sessions in his living room, and through hanging out with Amir, I got a gig to sing background for D, and we only did one gig, but he rehearses so vigorously that the rehearsals were like 2 months long. So I felt like I was in the band for a long time, but actually I only did one gig, and you know by then I had gotten signed, so
Okay.
I had started to work on my stuff.
Another relationship I wanted to talk about was you and Jay Dilla. How did that come about? When did you all meet, and how quickly did you guys start working together after you met?
I met Dilla when I was working on Firstborn Second, and at that time, like Dilla, Common, Amir, the Roots, everybody, they kind of was hitting at the same time, jamming with each other. Roots used to do a little jam session at this place, Wetlands, I think, and everybody used to come down there. So working with Dilla, you know, he was part of that whole situation. Working with him was amazing because he was just like such a naturally talented cat, you know. Stuff he did, it was a lot of it was self-taught, you know, so he had a certain understanding that was crazy. But at the same time, like he knew the intricacies of the music because his pops was a jazz musician. His pops actually played on a lot of jazz records. I didn't even know that, but his understanding was so deep because he was around it at such a young age, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool. I didn't know that about his dad. So did you, when he passed, that was a loss for music, but as a friend, I'm sure that was just very hard to cope with. How did you cope through that period when a good friend of yours and
It was shocking, you know. I think it was like one of the only like friends of mine that I knew, and then they passed away. So it was kind of it was weird, you know.
Yeah, it's
I
definitely.
still think about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's not natural when it's that young, but I mean, it's just incredible the amount that he's been able to, in such a short time, contribute to music.
Yeah, it
overall.
was like he was on a mission, you know.
Yeah.
Dilla could do like 50 beats a day if he wanted to. He did Reminisce, my song, in 10 minutes.
Wow. Okay.
From scratch.
Wow.
You know what I mean? From sampling the record to finding what record he wanted to use to chopping up the drum sounds, all of that, 10 minutes.
Wow. That's incredible. I've never done anything in 10 minutes. Cool. So let's talk about, you've collaborated. One of the things I like, you collaborated with Jay Dilla. You collaborated with a lot of people, from really independent folks to people that everybody knows. Can you tell me about one of your most memorable collaborations that you remember, like, whoa, that happened just there? Or like just a weird kind of story around a collaboration you did?
I had so many, you know, memorable moments. I worked with so many awesome people. Like Dilla, watching him put together a beat was just amazing, you know. The first time I met Dr. Dre was crazy, you know, because of the way he records with it's just so loud. He likes it to be so loud in the studio.
Mm-hmm.
And this was before he had the headphones. So, oh my goodness! Like first time I walked in the studio to work with Dre, you know, he wasn't in the room yet, and I noticed that, you know, normal studios, they have two gigantic like speakers that you could turn up and listen to music back. This cat had 6 of those, like two big ones at the top, and then 3 big ones at the top, and then 3 subwoofers at the bottom. Okay. And then when I saw that, I noticed everybody in the studio had on earplugs in their ear. Then Dre walks in, is like, yeah, you know, hell yeah, want to play this track. Sits down and turns it all the way up. I was like, I couldn't even. First off, I thought that the thing was going to explode, but nothing fed back, nothing went crunchy, nothing. It was just a wall of pain. Like, I was just like, I'll never forget that. It was like crazy.
Wow, that's cool. Great. Yeah, I did not expect that to come out. That's cool. So so you've worked with a wide range of people. You're also one of the most creative people that I've seen and heard. Creativity, I'm going to do the Google tie-in right now. So creativity is really important at Google and innovation. How do you write? And is that process the same? Do you create conditions that you can be creative in, or does it just pop up? Or
I try to be as open and like optimistic as I can, like when I'm creating. Like I write different shapes, and then I just wait till the moment of actually putting it down to really bring everything and allow myself to think of it as a complete thought. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So for non-musicians, does that transfer? Do you think that would be the advice you'd give to people? Be open. What other advice would you give to people about creativity and in that whole area?
I don't really have a set way. You know, I try not to put so much on myself. Like, I have to. This is going to save my life and make me feel a whole lot better about myself. Like, you know, I just try to remain as natural and inquisitive as I can, like when I first started, you know, when I was a kid.
Yeah. That's really cool. We talk about that here, actually. We have these classes, and we talk about how sometimes you lose that kid as you grow up. So I think that's cool. You were able to hold on to that. So let's talk about technology a little bit. Do you use any Google products?
I Google a lot.
Yeah. That's our main one. So I think we're doing well. And how do you discover new music? Do you just have word of mouth from friends, or do you use any of the stuff that's out there on the net?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got a Twitter page and Facebook. I'm part of that whole, you know, Instagram thing, I guess.
Yeah. So
you have to be.
Yeah. Has it changed the way you think about creating records, or is it just kind of once things are done, that's going to happen?
No, it's just something that's happening while we're doing what we do. Because a lot of it is just like a little comment.
Right.
Or I don't leave that many comments, though. But, you know, I try to take pictures and stuff.
Yeah, cool. You know. Okay, cool. We're going to do, I know a lot of people ask you what's your favorite this or that, or the most. I was not going to do that, but I'm actually going to do that. So what's one of your most favorite jazz spots in New York?
In New York? Fat Cat.
Okay. Is that what part of town?
That's on 7th Avenue. It's actually it's like a ping pong pool house, but on the side they play jazz, and it's real funky, like cool. You know, a lot of just real cool like jazz. It's like a jazz cat spot. Like most of the cats in the audience are musicians too. You know? Cool. So cats go there to burn out. I like going there. They go there to like outplay each other. It's nice.
Cool. All right. How about your one of your most favorite vocalists that you've heard over the course of your life?
One of my most favorite vocalists
Hmm.
is I say Betty Carter.
Wow. And what distinguishes her in your mind, or what distinguishes a good vocalist or a great vocalist from just a good vocalist?
Well, I like a person's approach. You know, I like her approach. Like it was very open ended, but at the same time like high level.
Hmm.
You know.
Yeah. And you scat and things as well. Is that
Yeah, yeah, definitely. That got me into her too.
okay?
You know,
Cool. Yeah.
because she really had an understanding of the music, like other than the surface things. You know, she really understood the chord changes, the rhythm. You know, so she was like a hardcore band leader just as much as like a Miles Davis or anybody. Like she really was known for like finding killer musicians and you know putting the whole scope of things together.
Yeah, yeah. And for those of you who haven't heard her, check her out.
She's
She's
ill.
incredible. So what? Let's switch gears a little bit. What's one thing you're most proud of that's non-musical?
Oh man, I have to say my kids.
Your kids.
Yeah,
You have two kids,
I got 3 kids.
three kids.
3 boys.
Oh wow.
Mhm.
And how old?
I got a 1-year-old, a 12-year-old, and a 7-year-old.
What's one of the things you learned most about yourself being a father?
um, Patience and you know having fun. You know,
Yeah.
I've learned to laugh with my kids. You know?
Yeah, yeah. I think that's real important.
Mhm.
We have a lot of people becoming fathers at Google because
Oh yeah.
when you start at a young company, you could kind of see people grow and have babies. Okay, cool. So
Kids are cool. Kids are cool. I
let's
love
talk.
kids.
Let's talk about the album. The new album, A Love Surreal, comes out February 26th.
Yeah.
Tell me how it's different from other work you've done, or what went into it that's something you haven't done before.
Um. Well, this album um was for me like was a part of like every like creative section of it. When before I would just really do the music and like be done, but this time um I thought about the visual side as and how it would relate to the musical.
Okay, cool. So how did you get involved with the visual aspect?
Well, with the visual aspect, um, I just thought about Salvador Dali. Like while we were putting one of the songs together in the studio, I was like, man, this is almost like an art piece. And then that kind of got me in a mindset of, oh, you know, what would I do visually? And so what we wound up doing is using Salvador Dali as kind of the muse for the project and trying to make the sound um, feel visual,
Mm-hmm.
you know, when you listen to it, like
Cool.
almost 3D.
Okay, cool. Is it the last album was you talked about a lot of different stuff.
Mhm.
Is that the case here, or is it more about love based? I'm just basing that off the title.
Yeah, you know, this is a more sensual record, I would say, as opposed to you know my last record. My last record was, I would say, for me, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and for a male experience in this world. And this one is more for the females, and you know, for a relationship, and you know, the journey through that.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing that. So any goals going forward that are, you do albums, you
Mm.
do music, you do live shows. Do you have any other goals that you want to accomplish
I
in
like
the
to
coming year?
do I like to do film, like
Oh, cool.
you know, landscaping and music in films. Like I would love to do that. Like making this record really got my mind to thinking about it more.
Yeah, yeah. I think the way that you seem to think that would be a really good fit. Just based on the performances and the music that I've heard.
Yeah, that'd be
Cool. All right. Well, thanks a lot for being here. I'm really excited. Bilal's about to play some tunes. Thanks for being here. Thanks for what you do for music as an independent music fan and a music fan in general. We'll be all passing it on to our kids for a long time to come, I'm sure. So, you ready? Let's do it. Everybody, welcome Bilal, please.
Dun, dun. Yeah. Tired of all these wars, dwelling in the past, searching for the honesty in all that jazz. What are we here for? What are we doing? Last time I checked, thought it was screwing, girl. And when I think of me and you and all the things we've been through, and going through and stepping back to view the picture, hoping for a brighter day. Girl, I jumped up in the sky and somehow we got stuck. How do we get back down to earth? I wanna get back to love. Back to love. How do we get back to love? Yeah, back to love. Back to love. How do we get back to love? Baby, come here. Let me kiss your temple. Breathe in your ear. Cool you down. Now get out your suitcase. Let's take a trip. Call up the job. Tell them you're sick. I'm making reservations. Back to love. Your happiness is what I'm for. How's Amsterdam? Down to Spain. To Morocco, Marrakesh. Take off the flesh and keep it fresh. Decompress, we've come so far. Wanna get back to love. Back to love. How do we get back to love? Yeah, back to love. Back to love. How do we get back to love? Like the fruit that falls from the trees, stronger than the rose that grows from the concrete. Oh, we can bask in the light of the sun and feel the love revolving around us. Wanna get back to love. Back to love. How do we get back to love? Love. I wanna get back to love. Back to love. How do we get back to love? Back. Back to love. Talking on the phone last night, you said you woke up wet from a dream, envisioning you loving me. Cold sweat, body shaking. Oh, you got nobody there to hold you, and I'm longing, waiting. I'm longing and waiting. Best time I ever had was with you in the midnight sun. Here's what I'm looking for. trench coat but naked. We got a lot of catching up to do. I'm alone anyway. I'm alone anyway. Straight down at the front door, eating off the kitchen floor. Now ride it to the bedroom. Give you what you've been waiting for. You've been waiting so patiently, baby. Burn them off, take a shower, love you down. After hours, say, baby, you're the only one I'm looking for. Let's play for a while. Burn it off, take a shower, love you down. After hours, say, baby, you're the only one I'm looking for. Let's play for a while. Let's play for a while. I should have ended with a sexier face, sorry. Sitting here thinking with my head on low, trying to figure out what's gonna be. Yeah, it's been about a year and a month living in a black hole. This misery's had me bound for too long. Yeah, so tired of being stressed out, vexed and oppressed. My God, tell me, Lord, where I gotta go? It's time to make a change. I know I'll never be the same. Yes, the trials of life that make a man grow strong. So you should never let your mind tell you that you fail. Just will it to happen and it can be done. If you're having a dream, you gotta make it come true. Sure, we like crabs in a barrel, everybody trying to make a come up, and at the same time pulling each other down. But I gotta make a breakout, gotta make a breakout some way. Yeah, let love show me the way. Oh, it's time to make a change. Oh, I know I'll never be the same. Oh, change. We're all the same, not so very different, divine by design. It all intertwines. Ain't nothing new, but it's always changing, moving. Still waters, soft yet so hard. And what is love? What is love? Cool on the outside, hot in the middle. Cool on the outside, hot in the middle. But you ain't even gotta try. All you gotta do is realize. You ain't even gotta try. All you gotta do is one great big small thing, like pollen in the spring breezes, speck of dust in this vast universe, yeah. Just like a raindrop in the sea of consciousness, so it's all matter. It's all matter, it's all matter, it's all matter. Oh, and what is love? What is it? What is love? What is it? Is it cool on the outside, hot in the middle? Cool on the outside, hot in the middle, but you ain't even gotta try. All you gotta do is realize. You ain't even gotta try. All you gotta do is oh, yes, it's everything ought to be. Yes, everything needs to be. Alright, don't stand in the way. You only make it hard on yourself. Yeah, just keep flowing with the flow. The ocean and your be just where you should be. Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Just keep going, keep going, keep going. Oh, tell me what is love? What is love? Is it cool on the outside, hot in the middle? Cool on the outside, hot in the middle. What is love? Tell me what is love? Is cool on the outside, hot in the middle. Cool on the outside, hot in the middle, but you ain't even gotta try. All you gotta do is realize. You ain't even gotta try. Thank you.